Essay number 79, How to Raise a Generation of Kids Who Don't Have a Problem with Anxiety. You think you're not obsessed with controlling your emotions. You're not sitting there consciously thinking about your feelings all day. You're just thinking about everything else that needs to be perfect, so you never have to feel anything at all. Think about it. You're obsessing over your bank account, not because you love numbers, but because having enough money means you won't have to feel insecure. You're micromanaging what you eat, not because you care about nutrition, but because being the right size means you won't have to feel unworthy. You're analyzing every text message, every facial expression, every social interaction, not because you're interested in human behavior, but because being liked means you won't have to feel rejected. You're not controlling your life. You're using your life to control your emotions. We've created an entire generation of people who think if they can just get everything external perfectly aligned, they'll never have to experience difficult internal feelings. If we find the perfect partner, we can't get heartbroken. If we're attractive enough, we'll always be respected. If we're successful enough, we'll finally feel worthy. But here's the thing everyone with anxiety already knows. The root of most anxiety isn't the thing you're afraid of. It's the fear of experiencing the fear itself. We're not actually afraid of failure. We're afraid of how failure will make us feel. We're not actually afraid of rejection. We're afraid of the emotion rejection triggers. We're living our entire lives trying to chess move our way around feelings, and we're teaching our kids to do the exact same thing. And it starts younger than you think. Children don't come into this world knowing how to regulate their emotions. They don't understand what they're feeling any more than they understand how their digestive system works or why we use forks instead of our hands. These are things that need to be taught. But instead of teaching them, here's what we do. We punish them for having bad feelings. Your kid has a meltdown in the grocery store, and instead of helping them understand what they're experiencing, you tell them to stop it right now or else. They cry when they're frustrated, and you tell them big boys don't cry. They express anger, and you send them to their room until they can be nice. What are we actually teaching them? We're teaching them that certain parts of themselves are unacceptable, that love is conditional, that they're only worthy when they're good. So they learn to perform, they learn to suppress, they learn to show only the parts of themselves that get them love and hide everything else. They become fragmented beings, expressing only what's momentarily acceptable, constantly scanning the environment to figure out which version of themselves to be. The 4-year-old who gets sent to time out for being angry becomes the 14-year-old who cuts herself in the bathroom because she doesn't know how else to process rage. The 6-year-old who's told to stop being so sensitive becomes the 26-year-old who can't maintain a relationship because vulnerability feels like death. These kids grow into adults who are constantly trying to control everything around them because if they can prevent the trigger, they won't have to feel the feeling. They become the person who needs their partner to text back immediately, or they spiral. The person who needs everyone to like them, or they can't function. The person who needs everything to go according to plan, or they have a breakdown. They're not control freaks because they love control. They're control freaks because they're terrified of their own emotional experience. And then these anxious adults have kids of their own, and the cycle continues. But here's what could change everything. What if we raised kids who weren't afraid of their own feelings? The way we raise adults who don't struggle with anxiety is by being adults who accept anxiety ourselves. Not embrace it, not love it, just accept it. Accept that it's part of being human. Accept that it's not dangerous. Accept that it will pass. When your kid is melting down, instead of trying to stop it, what if you said, "You're really frustrated right now. That's okay. Frustration feels terrible. It feels hot and tight and like you might explode. I'm here with you while you feel it." When they're scared, instead of saying, "Don't be scared," what if you said, "Being scared is so uncomfortable. Your body is trying to protect you. Let's breathe through it together." When they're angry, instead of punishing them, What if you help them understand that anger is just energy that needs to move through their body? Because here's what you need to understand. The voices we use with our children in their most vulnerable moments become their inner voice forever. The way you talk to your scared 5-year-old is how they'll talk to their scared 35-year-old self. If you shame them, they'll shame themselves. If you dismiss their feelings, they'll dismiss their own feelings. If you teach them that certain emotions are unacceptable, they'll spend their whole life trying to be acceptable by not feeling. But if you meet their emotions with curiosity and compassion, that's what they'll give themselves. If you teach them that all feelings are temporary and survivable, they won't need to architect their entire life around avoiding them. Kids don't do what we tell them. They do what we do. You can't tell your kid that feelings are okay while you're having a panic attack about your panic attacks. You can't teach them emotional regulation while you're losing your mind because someone cut you off in traffic. You can't expect them to be comfortable with uncertainty while you're trying to control every aspect of their life because you're terrified they'll suffer. If we want to raise kids who don't have anxiety problems, we have to stop having anxiety about anxiety. We have to stop treating difficult emotions like emergencies. We have to stop acting like feeling bad is the worst thing that can happen to a person. Because here's the truth. The kids who never learn to tolerate distress become adults who are distressed by everything. The kids who never learn to sit with discomfort become adults who are addicted to comfort. The kids who never learn that feelings are temporary become adults who make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. We have a generation of adults right now who are medicating, drinking, shopping, scrolling, working, and exercising their way out of feeling anything. We're all trying to outrun our own emotional experience because nobody ever taught us that we could just feel it. Nobody taught us that anxiety isn't dangerous, that sadness won't kill us, that anger is just energy, that all feelings, even the worst ones, eventually pass. We learned instead that feelings are problems to be solved, that emotional pain is a failure of character, that if we're not happy, we're doing something wrong. And now we're passing this same broken relationship with emotions on to our kids and wondering why anxiety rates in children are skyrocketing. Your kid doesn't need you to protect them from every difficult feeling. They need you to show them that difficult feelings are survivable. They don't need you to fix their emotions. They need you to be steady while they learn to navigate them. They need you to be the adult who says, "All feelings are welcome here. You're safe to feel whatever you're feeling. I'm not afraid of your emotions, so you don't have to be either." But you can't give your kids what you don't have yourself. You can't teach emotional regulation if you're not regulated. You can't model acceptance of anxiety if you're at war with your own. So this isn't really about raising kids without anxiety. It's about becoming adults who aren't afraid of feeling. It's about doing our own work so we don't pass our dysfunction to the next generation. We have the unique opportunity right now to be the generation that breaks the cycle. We have access to information about emotional intelligence that our parents never had. We have the tools to understand anxiety in ways previous generations couldn't. We have the chance to give our kids what we never got: permission to be fully human. But it starts with us. It starts with putting down our phones when we're uncomfortable instead of scrolling through the discomfort. It starts with feeling our feelings instead of eating them or drinking them or buying our way out of them. It starts with admitting that we're anxious and scared, and sometimes we don't know what we're doing. It starts with being the adult we needed when we were kids. Because the voices in our children's heads will be our voices. The way they treat themselves will mirror how we treated them. The relationship they have with their emotions will be the relationship we showed them was possible. We can raise a generation without anxiety problems, but only if we're willing to face our own anxiety first. Only if we're willing to feel what we've spent our whole lives avoiding. Only if we're willing to show our kids that emotions aren't emergencies. They're just experiences. The world doesn't need more kids who are good at hiding their feelings. The world needs more kids who know their feelings won't kill them. The world doesn't need more adults who are afraid of anxiety. The world needs more adults who know that anxiety is just a feeling, and feelings are just information, and information can't hurt you if you know what to do with it. So the next time your kid has a big feeling, don't try to fix it. Don't try to stop it. Don't try to rush through it. Just be with them in it. Show them that feelings are tolerable. Show them that you're not afraid. Show them that they're safe to be human. Because that's how we raise kids without anxiety problems. Not by protecting them from feelings, but by teaching them that feelings aren't something they need protection from. The gift we can give the next generation isn't a life without difficult emotions. It's the knowledge that they can handle whatever emotions come. And that knowledge, that changes everything.